All right, what's up, y'all? Good afternoon. It is Thursday, March 28th. We got our Bookmap stream today, and we'll be highlighting as much as we can some price action here with the choppiness that maybe we'll get a little breakdown here. It's kind of trying to break out at the moment. Post in the YouTube channel for y'all to jump on the YouTube if you're so inclined. There we go. So right at the top of the hour, we finally get a move. NASDAQ has been incredibly pinned for the past hour in a 10-point range, which is abysmal. And it looks like we're getting a little bit of a move down here, which is something we want. See if we can get a little bit of a move. Now they're coming on down to test the pre-market low and the new low we tested at the morning, which is today's session low at 18,457.25 on NASDAQ. And if you're wondering, the morning high is 53875. So we're dealing with 80-point range, which is pretty tight for NASDAQ. There and bottom wick. Just a little tease, yeah. So there seems to be a general thought that we may have a dump on power hour. Not a terrible thought. As cheap as all the lottos are, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Right here. Sorry about that, Dan. $18,474. You're welcome, my bad. Wouldn't know how to do without you. TLT is coming down 94. A little bit of pop up in the bonds. We don't really have any more catalysts today. Of course, tomorrow we've got some wonky stuff. PCE and JPOW himself. Apple is bouncing. Nvidia has not moved. Microsoft, and the first thing I'm going to do here to start the hour off is kind of zoom out and look for any kind of liquidity. We had some large icebergs that filled at the very tip top on ES. So literally it filled right there at 1150, and then we dump back over. We just bounced off the 200 on ES. So looking here on liquidity, we got this big cat up here at 18,560, which came on right at 12 o'clock Eastern time. And this is right now the largest liquidity node up here. Outside of that, we have 18,400. Looking at ES, they just had 5327 come on in a big way. So about 700 orders up here at 53,720.27, 5320. We also have 5304, which would be a net 20-point move and change. So, very interesting. It's been a very, very slow week. The daily candles on NASDAQ are terrible. And it's a great week for it to be spring break. Breach of the range, but NVIDIA is flat. NVIDIA is definitely flat. This is definitely a session, and I kind of told my peeps this morning, if you're not in the server, that this is not the session to play breakdowns or breakouts. If you get in early enough, set stops just in case it does happen, but I certainly wouldn't enter a long at the top or a short at the bottom anticipating a breakout because that hasn't been playing all week. And it definitely hasn't been playing today. We had some great movement during the first half hour or so, and it's been a little bit slow since. And now we're going to see if we can hit something here in the next 3 hours, if we can get in the last hour and get something going. $3,300 CVD is green. Very light selling on the way down here, with now a decent green candle bouncing back up. ES right off the 200 and a 3-point bounce on ES. I don't anticipate much action during this Bookmap stream today, unfortunately. Not a lot going on. And this hour of the day the past week has been terrible. we'll see. What's up, Steven? How you doing, buddy? How you doing? The Dow is still flat. Yes. Let's go take a look at XLF. XLF has been steadily trending up today, and they, of course, been on a rampage this entire quarter. And they really kicked off yesterday at about 2 o'clock and then rallied to where we are now. So XLF doing their part to hold up the S&P. Overall, we're about 50-50 green, red and blue, or red and green for the S&P. The VIX right now is green 1.41 and not selling off. And we're faced with yet an odd situation here. We're faced with the fact that we have two major data points tomorrow, and the market closed. Futures and stocks are both closed tomorrow, so there's absolutely no trading unless you're trading Bitcoin. So I suppose you could monitor a little bit of BTC for any kind of news tomorrow to anticipate the open on Sunday night. I put a house on the line, and I'm all in SPY calls expiring Monday. Well, I hope it works out for you, unknown. So Monday afternoon, you're either cardboard box or mansion. Close yesterday and this morning was spicy. It was definitely spicy. Big time spicy. And I think Monday will be even spicier. I expect today's power hour to be pretty spicy. I was looking for good movement the first hour, last hour. We got a little bit in the morning, and now all that's left is wait for power hour. The past 2 days, we've had some spicy action today. See how they're going to position. And we'll wait for Sunday. I'll be very curious to see futures open Sunday night. In addition, Tier 2 call Sunday night, by the way, Zoom call. Well, it's Easter, isn't it? I may reschedule that for another day. There's going to be nobody on that. It's Easter. I'm going to be hanging out with the family. In fact, there we go. 18480. So we had the one quick red candle there at the top of the hour, and then the green rod is right back up. So there's really not much analysis to be done. So the 15-minute is very wicky. We have another bottom wick forming here. I'm going to go back over and take a look at the options data to see if any kind of GEX is moving. I doubt it. We have nodes at 5270 down to 5230, 5250 as well, with an overarching spike at 5195 on SPX. Yes, I know, that's still 60 points down. I don't see that happening, but it is there. Russian warships have entered the Red Sea. Still red. The morning low on NASDAQ is 18,457, which it would be 25 points-ish down. Any red there, definitely look for that area. 470 and falling. $457.25. Nice little red. If we take out that prior low, I would look for morning low. Right there, which we're about to test it now. The top of the hour candle. 464. Trying to press it. 463. They're not putting on any liquidity, but they're trying to do it. And bottom wick soon? Yeah. Yeah, I would look for the bottom wick at the morning low. Definitely. Right there. 457. Definitely don't want to be short in the hole. Did I take any trades this morning? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I took some trades early in the morning on the data, and then during the session, I wrote up overall 6 micro contracts, MNQs, on the first initial spike upwards. NVIDIA's coming off, testing the morning low right here, 461. Not quite getting down to 457 yet. Trying to, though. Notice they're putting on 18,500 on this move down, and they took off the 535, but they still have the 560 on they put on at noon. And ES put this cat up here, 53.27. So for me, I'm not in the game of shorting this low right here. Now, once power hour hits, I would pretty much say anything goes. But at this current session, with the volume the way it is, midday, no catalysts, I would be more apt to buy the dip here than certainly short the whole. Definitely. So what I like to do is set a long order just outside of the morning low. Yes, I am, Christos. Yes, I am. In fact, I need to notify people, don't I? They sometimes don't get notifications. That's a good point. Thank you. How can you avoid getting faked out? Market awareness. And I don't necessarily mean the tickers. I mean the price action itself. So I need to be aware where the major pivots are. I need to be aware of POCs, big weekly bounces, big weekly rejections, the prior session, stuff like that. Be aware of where the bounces are. And what that requires is you waking up a little bit early or getting to the chart a little bit early and plotting those before the market opens. I would not encourage you to sit down at the market while everything's going and just start trading. You definitely got to put the time in. You got to do the legwork. Linda Raschke says you are a student first and a trader second. Even if you're 70 years old and making, a cool milli a year doing this, you are still a student of the game. And in order to do that, you've got to learn and get elbow deep in the charts. So wake up early, put some chart time in on plotting levels, plotting the pivots, highs and lows, and be aware of that. And in addition, that's the easy stuff. The hard stuff is learning auction theory with the market. How does the market move up? How does the market move down? Why does the market put a big red candle in and then suddenly bottom wick it and then go up 50 points higher? Because they have to gather that inventory. They got to stop out people, gather those cheap shares low, and then rocket it. Stuff like that. The most common thing for, I'd probably say, a beginner trader to do is to short the whole or buy the high. That's something that happens far too frequently. Is they take a short at the very low and take a long at the very high, because usually that's when the things are most obvious. The market is usually as bullish as it can get at the high. So holy crap, this is bullish. I need to get in, right? And you enter, and then it reverses. And then the vice versa. Things are usually extremely bearish and looks extremely bearish at the lows, so you short only to be bounced. And if you can understand that there's a reason why they're doing that, then you won't chase it. Obviously, easier said than done, but that's just keep in the back of your mind. Every time I see a move that's like out of nowhere or very quick, I'm asking myself, why are they doing this? $522.7. Dropping back off. Apple's rounding back over. Do I use prop firms like Apex? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yesterday, SPY exploded around power hour, had one red candle on the way up, got flushed out. It did. It exploded. And if you go back and look at the options data, it kind of front ran it. Right before that move happened, you started to see a lot of put selling, call buying. And boom, we launched. I didn't catch it at the time, but in hindsight, obviously. Large red engulfing coming back down, 457 right there. How does one determine if the bottom or top is in, or is it going to hold or fall? Volume and price action, really. I mean, there's not an easy way to say, oh, my order just filled. Sweet. So I just put on 454, which is 3 points out of the morning low for liquidity sleep, and it just filled and bounced immediately. We'll see how it can do. So what I'm going to do here is set my stop in profit, because if that does fail, it'll be a pretty precipitous sell. I'm going to set my stop just barely into profit so I can ensure a green trade, or no loss really, because small profit, whatever. But we'll see what we can do here. Booyah. Am I in a long position? Yeah, I just filled 18,454 on NASDAQ. It was a resting limit order that I had, and it just filled. Money. Could not have planned that better. Jeez Louise. Right there. Hammered it. So that's that morning low right there. That's the morning low on NASDAQ that I was playing. Being aware of market awareness is your key. And I just filled 18,454 right there. Going green, baby. Going green. And that's why I use limit orders. All right. Let's take a look here at Bookmap. I don't know how far this thing's going to go, but I'm going to set my stop in, and hopefully it goes all the way back up top of the range. What is the JPM collar? How does that impact today's market? The JP Morgan collar is a hedge position they placed on their overarching portfolio. Now, JP Morgan puts on many different collars, monthly, quarterly, and such, but the one people talk about morally is going to be the quarterly collar. It's been as high as 45,000 contracts. It's been as low as like 18,000 contracts. Either way, it's a substantially large position that a lot of retail have kind of clung to the past couple of years, and rightfully so. It protects against the portfolio approximately +5, -20% of a move on the market. And we're hovering just right at the top leg of that JP Morgan collar. How does it impact today's market? Arguably, it is a position that is one of the largest trades out there by one of the largest institutions out there. So people want to know what's it doing, and if the JP Morgan can put on a position that's a little foresight into what they think the market's going to do the next 3 months, quarter, which is the trade length, before they roll it, then people might position themselves accordingly, including some larger funds. So yeah, what a great song, Alice in Chains. You're welcome, Paolo. How do you see the JP Morgan position? Well, You know, the easy way is to just Google it on Twitter, or you just search it in Twitter, because there's a whole bunch of different accounts that post it and stopped out. There's a whole bunch of different accounts that stopped out. Holy crap, I just said it again. There's a whole bunch of different accounts that posted it. However, if you want to be a little more proactive, you can actually look on their prospectus on their website, or if you really want to get in the weeds, look on the quarterly strikes for options and look for the open interest. You're going to see a very, very large open interest on the call and put strike, and you'll be able to find it that way. Usually anywhere in the ballpark of 5-figure open interest on the position. Beautiful. So now that I've checked the box of the weekly low test, or the morning low test, now I'm not going to play the long off of that unless I have a confirmation by VPA. The first touch I'm willing to play blind just like I just did. The second touch I need VPA to confirm me. So now with this little red move back down, because if they were to remove this, now we have two scenarios. We either have a double sweep coming on down into the force 57, or this may actually breach. Those are the two options I've got at my disposal here. So I need to ensure that we're going to hold this to go back up before I do take another speculative long. Otherwise, we could sweep this on down into the 440 area. So far, it's looking like a double bounce, double sweep. But I am flat. I've been spending all day with my daughter, so no trading. She's having fun looking at the flamingos and other colorful things at the the hardware store. Nice. Nice. 5290 just came on. Thank you, Trader J. Good stuff. They did put that on. And it looks like we may have a little tweezer situation here. Symmetrical triangle on NVIDIA since 9:45 Eastern. Getting to a decision point. Yeah. And what Buddy System's talking about is this right here. This is NVIDIA. Putting on the rare flag. Right here. Which I guess what that means is we're ready for the Masters Tournament. There you go. Beep. All in one. Back to trading. All right. NASDAQ still holding 462. Oh, man. We have a signature print at 52270 for SPY. Now we do have a good amount of GEX lower as well. Still holding. How's y'all's week been? Everyone doing okay? Some people had struggles. Some people did good. Some people didn't take any trades. Flat. Yeah. There's that double bounce off of it. 18.467. There's very light liquidity on the book here. Now we have 53.04 on with 52.90. Looking at the CVD, it's dropped significantly over from 5,000, but going slow. I graduated from paper trading this week. 3 for 3 on micro NASDAQ scalps. Nice terp. Keep it up. Keep it up. Nice, Deacon. Something you said last week was if you're struggling buying calls at the top and puts at the bottom, go through the charts and circle the best pivots for entry if reduce the amounts of trades and FOMO. Love it. Love it. That's exactly right. Go through and circle those big pivots. Find the big pivots and only trade those. It's been a nice week off from the new works transition. Checking the market at open and close, that's about it. The rest of the time spending with the family and building things. Beautiful. Nice, Kennedy. That's exactly right. Even Andy Coling talks about it, or not Andy Coling, Linda Raschke circled this. Says you cannot predict in advance where the big wins are going to come from. You just have to keep taking the signals your system gives you. And then set your stops into play, and every now and then, you'll catch you a big winner. All you need is a couple of trades a year to make your profit goal for the year. Most of the time, you're trading water. Your P&L is flat, maybe slightly upwards, but then every now and then you have a big trade, and that puts you over the edge, and you keep it. As long as you don't have any massive losses, you should be okay to have your equity curve going upwards. Still an MNQ limit buy at 457.25 with a break-even stop. It looks like it's going to get stopped out. I don't know, man. You do have some natural bottom wicks in your favor. We have 3 5-minute bottom wicks, 1 15-minute bottom wick, and now we've got this candle that's just forming. So you do have bottom wicks in your favor. If this bottom wicks gives out, then it would be a good place to stop out, definitely. Here is the GEX for SPY right here. That's from my trading ticks. Here is SPY. Well, the SPY is coming on down to the largest GEX for the zeros. Now, it's not the overarching. That's just for today's session, which, depending on how large that lot is, the larger stuff usually takes precedence. up to a certain point. So it makes sense why we're sitting here pinned, because that's the largest GEX. This is where the balance is. 523 on SPY. Now that shifted around. It went from 522, kind of crept up to 523. And here we are. If we start to see that shift into the end of session, which I'll start monitoring it probably 1345, 1350 Central, 1445, give or take, Eastern Time, to see if that is in fact going to shift. The SPX is all over the freaking place. It's all over the place. But with a large noted 51.95. What's the low for NASDAQ you were looking at with this move? Well, I took a play off of the morning low, which is here. That's the morning low. And I plot the morning high and low every single morning. So when the market opens, the first hour culminates, I plot the high and the low every day. And I play off of them. On a range day, probability says we are going to bounce here and at least go back up to VWAP, if not all the way. All the way obviously would be very nice, but I don't even need that far. All I need to do, I don't care if it's going to go back up. I'm not going to try to play that. What I'm going to do is try to get me a little bit of profit, set a stop where it'll hold above, and then as long as it doesn't trip, then it's a free trade, hands-off trade. All I have to do is survive the chop, and then it'll start to come back up. That's the goal. And then if you catch one of these moves, heck, that's 80, 90 points on NASDAQ. It's beautiful. But the morning low is a great play. And it also tells you trend up, trend down. So in the morning time, if we had this big green candle, 9:30 comes, we set the high. If we break above the morning high and then hold it, then I want to take a long right here, and then now we're trend up. Also, in the afternoon, all right, so let's say we do this and the afternoon comes along and we start to sell back off, another great place to long into power hour is at the morning high. Because once we break above the morning high and hold it into a trend up, very, very rare to come back down and retest the morning low. This is very rare. So I would be going along somewhere in this ballpark. So I know a long-winded explanation, but this is where I'm looking along. But holy crap, this is boring price action. Terrible. Can't see what you're talking about right here on YouTube. The Bears have controlled the tape the past hour and a half. We'll see what they're going to do here. A lot of low confidence stuff at the moment, but I do like they want to wipe this 5306. Tier 2, the macro levels, you can play them first touch. The weekly, the morning high and lows, you can play first touch a lot of the times. So get in the habit of playing these major pivots, because that could be the only trade you need of the day. Now that we're on the topic of less trades with large pivots, do you think I should hang on to my far dated SPY puts? April 30th, I'm down 23%. May 31, down 3.5%. June 29th, I'm up 1% with a port up 3%. Those aren't terrible trades. I do think that once this quarter is over, we start into April, that we're going to get out of this range. And I do think that we are going to have a little bit of a retracement soon. I still think we're in distribution. So you definitely built yourself some time, by longer dated trades. And then those are not too bad of losses for downward trades. Now I wouldn't let your April put go too far beyond that without any kind of management, closing out, putting on hedges, etc. If you want to hold the position, I certainly would hedge it. I would either write premium against it, turn it into a debit spread until you need it. The debit spread will buy you time. It'll take your premium you're losing and it'll place it into your winning pocket, just left pocket, right pocket. I certainly wouldn't hold it and do nothing. I would do something. Buy yourself some time. What's the easiest way to trade the ranges? Well, the easiest way first is to understand how to play it. Kind of like a philosophical question there, right? So, what the ranges are, it's not necessarily a tool for me to long and short off of. It's a tool to help me identify the price action so I can exploit it. That's all. So it helps me identify trend up, trend down, or range from there. Now this is based on Linda Raschke's first hour range, saying that the algorithm set the highs and lows in the first hour. 80% of the time we're going to range in between or around these levels. So longing at the low and shorting at the high will prove to be profitable for you most of the time. Is it going to work every time? Certainly not. Nothing ever does. But it'll also help you from being a little bit too FOMO on like trying to short this crap. Like, holy crap, there's a bunch of red. Let me short. Oh, sorry, we're at the morning low and you get bounced. It keeps you safe. It allows you a little market awareness and helps you long and short at these levels once you understand what's going on. Russian investigators say the attackers of Moscow have received a significant amount of cash and cryptocurrency from Ukraine. Interesting. I wonder where they got all that cash. Huh. You're welcome, Kennedy. Still holding nice and green. Oh, man. Slow stuff. There we go, still holding the green. ES is still only in a 10-point range, which is terrible. Definitely not even looking at ES. I haven't even looked at ES all this week. All this week. SPY. was that? The 524 calls have come off a lot. And an increase on 523. Gold is up to 22.20. Dang. Still going too. Well, this is about as boring as things get on trading. I'm just kind of watching this liquidity shift from 95 to 90, watching this price action in the 15-minute. It's great on this action to kind of hold on the longer time frame charts. The shorter time frame charts is just nothing but wicks, nothing actionable. Yeah, it looks like a Tennessee Vols fan. The most amount of manipulation occurred during the accumulation and distribution. Is that true? Yes, I would agree with that, because that is, what happens at the outlier moves like this, the accumulation distributions at the highs and lows. You have to create, or maintain, I should say, willing buyers while you're selling. How do institutions sell and yet still allow retail to be willing to buy the high? Or I use retail kind of in place of everybody. How do institutions dump their shares at high prices to take profit while still creating willing buyers? Well, they know that human nature is driven by greed and fear. Fear at the lows and greed at the highs. And they do that by either dark pool orders or offloading shares in multiple high volume lots, which is what we're seeing on the daily chart here. And they do that through the form of retests. They'll pop the market up to get everyone back to take a deep breath, a sigh of relief that we're not going to fall, and then top wick it back over, and then dump it back over again and get everyone scared, and then bounce it back up, and they're okay, breathe a sigh of relief. Now we can go to all-time highs, YOLO baby, and then they dump it back over and over and over and over again for weeks and weeks, with high volume spikes kind of littered throughout, and then finally they roll it. So yeah, all that stuff is driven through using the natural direction of the market. Like jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu, the whole premise behind jiu-jitsu is to use your opponent's weight to your advantage. If they keep going one way, all right, cool, we're just going to let them go that way and bring them to the floor that way. Well, that's kind of what the institutions do. They let the market, the natural occurrence of the buy because of greed, keep on bringing it back up, and then they'll just sell lots at the highs. Sell lots at the highs. Take that profit. And then when the market's tanking, whether driven by news events or JPOW or whatever else it is, Russia or whatever the other crap is out there, they'll just let the market naturally fall until they're ready to start buying. You're welcome. And the reason why that is typically like this because it's shaking out a lot of people. And then you finally start to have a lot of selling, a lot of buying, a lot of selling back and forth until finally it picks a direction. What do I think of Wyckoff's analytics? I love it. VPA is based on the teachings of Wyckoff. And Anna Coling, who is the person that I follow the most, is a VPA teacher. Most of her laws and principles and rules are derived from Wyckoff. So Wyckoff has the cycle of market movement where you have accumulation into markup, into distribution, into markdown. Now it separates it in a lot of different steps, which can be a little bit complex, but Anna Coling breaks it down into 4 steps, which is accumulation, markup, distribution, markdown. It's a lot easier to kind of follow, but all the same principles. So I'm a big believer in them. I'm going to call it a week. I actually learned a lot this week, even though price action was horrible. Can't thank you enough. You're very welcome, TN. Appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around and learning, even though it's been boring. Have a great weekend. I'll see a lot of y'all next week, bright and early. Yeah, buddy. Have a fantastic long weekend, and I'll see you Monday. I've never been into fibs, but when I draw them out, they often pivot at the fib levels. Thoughts? Fibs are an analytical aspect of the market, and it's something that a lot of people use, mainly the 50. So it's one of those self-fulfilling prophecies that because it works until it doesn't. Do I ever take trades based on confluence for VWAP fibs? It's rare that I trade off of VWAP. I do use it for sentiment play. So the way I use VWAP is for sentiment. So if things are bearish and like we're kind of in shorting mindset where you want to short, but we bounce and recapture VWAP and then hold it, that's more of a sentiment shift for me. Not necessarily because it's VWAP, because typically VWAP is an average pricing of the highs and lows. So if we can take out that average and then continue upwards, then like I don't want to be in short mode anymore. Now, yeah, VWAP is a volume weighted average price that's kind of given, and it's typically smack dab in the middle of a range like it is today. So a lot of it is kind of simplistic. But like I said, I use it for changing sentiment to cage my bias, is what I'm saying. Now, some people have systems where you don't short anything as long as you're over VWAP, and you don't buy anything as long as it's below VWAP on a particular time frame, which I think that's a little too broad, but you kind of get the picture. How many years till you change your name to Options Millionaire? I'll let you know when I win the Powerball, baby. Yeah. Hopefully next week. Great channel. Learned a lot. Nice, Skid. Appreciate it, buddy. Let me know if you have any questions. Do I place my orders on Bookmap? No, I don't. I don't sync my broker for anything. I trade only on my broker. I'm still in the trade from the morning low at MNQs, so target VWAP. Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't even get out. I wouldn't even get out of VWAP. I would just roll my stop up. just in case we do attack the morning high again. That would be a fantastic trade. How many millionaires do I know personally besides yourself? More than you would think, although, when you think of a millionaire, you think of, tendies and Lambos and all this crazy flamboyant millionaires. But, a true millionaire, a guy with 6 or 7-figure net worth with his equity in his house and his 401ks, that's not that hard to find. So, plus I know a couple of, country music singers and stuff like that, through their kids at least. So, whatever. Well, my best friend was a very prominent country music singer, or his dad was a very prominent country music singer. So, anyone who owns a house in California, yeah. I know a lot of Californians, so they're all millionaires, right? The self-made ones are definitely not flashy. In fact, one of my good friends from is actually that I went to high school with is actually in this server, and he's doing a little trading. He started a physiotherapy office, and now he's got multiple locations, and I know he's a millionaire. So. Free country music concerts for the fam. Oh, yeah. I used to help a lot of owners get their PT office off the ground. Oh, cool. What do you do? Like, what'd you do? Definitely tough to become a millionaire. Well, I'll throw a caveat to that. It's difficult to become a millionaire when you're young, working only a W-2, unless you've got some sort of specialized job. Yeah, definitely. It's easier than you think it is to become a millionaire by the time you're like 70. But yeah, I get it. You're 70 years old. You can barely enjoy your money. But I get your point. Yeah. That's why it's very important to diversify and get exposed to a lot of different things and stay out of debt. And apparently don't drink Starbucks. Don't buy coffee. Since today is the last trading day of the March, I'd like to say I'm going to close this month green. It'll be my 4th straight green month. Nice, McGurky. I'm proud of you, buddy. Killing it. That's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I, on the other hand, am going to break my winning streak this month, which makes me a sad panda. Every time I see a David Goggins video, I feel like I just go in with 10 NASDAQs, the adrenaline. Yeah, don't do that. I worked with those who wanted to start their own practice or already had a practice. Most of the time, the therapists do not know how to manage the admin and business aspects of running a practice. It was a good time. Very cool. Now when the power hour lottos hit, yeah. Yeah, I've got 2 hours to get my month green. What are we taking, boys? What are we taking? Oh, I know Trader J does, definitely. A year ago today, I was wondering if I'd ever have 2 straight green months. Now you got it. 100 cons at 5,200. And I'm in. Just kidding. CGC calls. Still holding the morning low right here. Full port straddle. A straddle's probably not a bad idea this afternoon, honestly. I do think we're going to break out of this. Probably not a bad idea. Once it gets deep, and I wouldn't do it right now. Maybe into like when there are a couple of cents in the power hour. Probably not a bad idea. don't full port. Yeah, certainly don't full port. Still holding the morning low here. I decided to do 6 Apex accounts, and the fact that I had more than one that I could blow helps me play more conservatively and cautiously. I'm green currently on 5 of the 6. Nice, yo, cheerio. Slow and steady, baby. Slow and steady. What's your opinion on straddling SPY calls during power, calls and puts? Most of the time, I'd probably say you're just throwing money out the window, but there are instances where that's not a bad idea. Today is one of those. As long as you're not, you're positioning yourselves appropriately, as long as you're taking somewhat smart plays, you're not just trying to, go 100 points out on ES. Then yeah, sometimes it has its place. If you want to get a 40-cent premium to run to $4, $5, the time to do it is end a quarter, end a month, end a week on a Friday, or on the last day of the last day of the month, week. If I join your group, which brokerage should I use? I personally use IBKR. You can use whichever one you like, but I personally use IBKR. I used to vouch for E-Trade, but since they've merged with Merrill Lynch, I can't vouch for them anymore. I don't know what quality they present. If you're a starter and you want something that's super basic, Webull is really cool to look at. It's really clean. I haven't executed too much on Webull, but I hear good things, and it looks great. Can you use IBKR with Apex? No. I really want to go in on something Leroy Jenkins. Oh my gosh. And I'll go ahead and tell y'all, if you are interested in joining the group, remember we're not a call-out server. I've had people sign up and immediately cancel before because they realize I don't post call-outs like other people do. So we're more about education and trying to get a good handle on the market. Every day this week has been good moves. Yeah, Power Hour, definitely. Any good books to learn auction theory? I'll find out for you. I'll get you a good list of that. Obviously, Anticoling kind of tips into that stuff. Great stuff. But yeah, I like TradeStation a lot. Webull is awesome, but they're only getting into futures. Yeah. Webull's China owned. I didn't know that. Okay. May not be an option too much longer. I've secured 6,000 payouts with Apex this first period on 3 accounts. On the other hand, I'm $200 red and the other 7. Conflicting days continue. Nice vent. Well done. I know you had some problems a couple weeks ago, so I'm glad to see that you got things up out of the hole. So good stuff. Sorry for all the questions. No, that's why we're here. I'm trying to locate a broker I can use for Canada with Apex. I think you can do Quantower. I know I had other people that live in Trudeau's regime that they can trade from with Quantower in Canada with Apex. Yeah, top of the hour. So unfortunately, I do have to call that. It's 2 o'clock, but that's the hour for our Bookmap. So I will be looking to come back on the server if things pick up. Not right now, unless things get crazy now, which it looks like it may. Power hour most likely. So thanks for hanging out. Another hour, another Bookmap session. I'll see y'all next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm out. See you.